أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا إله إلا الله Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I greet you, my brothers and sisters, with the noble and universal greeting of peace, the greeting that has been used by the prophets and messengers of our universal creator, Almighty Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And so, this is our Friday lecture, and it is just after Eid al-Adha, our celebrations, which is one of the most auspicious days on the Islamic calendar. Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Fitr, and Jumu'ah are the three most auspicious days on the Islamic calendar. Eid al-Adha follows the Hajj pilgrimage. It's a conclusion of the pilgrimage ceremonial components, and it is the 10 biggest days of the year that are regarded as extremely important, you see. So before Eid al-Adha, there's the 10 biggest days, and before Eid al-Fitr, there is the 10 biggest nights. And, the Friday is a auspicious day as well. So I'm just letting us know that there are auspicious days on the Islamic calendar and that these are significant. And so the Eid al-Adha celebration, the festival of the sacrifice, is all about the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, Abraham. And Ibrahim alayhi salam was a child of parents, of a family and a tribe of people that had no actual awareness of their Creator. His family were actually making idols, and to worship. They were supplying idols to the tribe. They were idol manufacturers, and they promoted idolatry, which basically means Ibrahim alayhi salam, that the Prophet Abraham, he grew up without the family, his parents, the tribe, aware of the Creator. And they did not know that there is actually a Creator and the nature of the Creator. They didn't know. And they were interested in continuing their ideas about God or how to live in the world that their forefathers had actually been involved in. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, the Prophet Abraham, even as a young boy, could see that there was something clearly wrong here. There's something not right about this picture, that we make these things in our own workshop, and then we supply it to people, and then we and other people turn to these things, and, we think that these things that we created with our own hands are going to in some way benefit us. And if we don't appease these things will harm us. So even as a young man, the Prophet Abraham, who is regarded as the friend of Allah, but he grew up in a family where there was unawareness of the Creator, there was no awareness, and instead there was superstition, ignorance, and even arrogance when it was pointed out to them that this is nonsensical, this is absurd, this is not of any kind of real value to you. They continued in their ways. They said, no, we want to continue in the ways of our forefathers. You know what I mean? And so the Prophet Abraham contemplated. He went within and he contemplated and reflected, At first he began to think and reason, like maybe the sun is God. Maybe we should worship the sun. He was looking in what his physical eyes could see, and what in the physical world can be seen, Started looking, because, he assumed himself to be this physical body, and he assumed that all that which exists within the physical realm. And so he looked with his physical eyes in the physical realm. By day he saw the sun, and he thought maybe, using his own reasoning, using his own thinking rather. He used his own thinking. So maybe the sun is gone, And at night there was no sun to be seen, because it set, It's not observed at night. And then he thought maybe the stars. He was thinking to himself, I think maybe the stars, they will be worthy of worship. Something must be turned to. Human beings have this kind of awareness. We have this kind of vulnerability within us that we know, that we vulnerable. We require more than our own availability. I know today, in today's world, there are people who say, if I get a right job and I get money and I'll be able to pay my way through the world, I will not need anybody. I will only need myself, and I'll need myself to do this thing. And as long as I do this thing, like get this job, get this money, I'll be able to pay my bills. And so, that's wonderful, they think to themselves. They think that they are depending on themselves. They are thinking that they are, enough to depend on. But in the world, in the history of the world, people always felt vulnerable, generally. I know in today's time, arrogance is very high. I have power. Before, back in the day, the power was in the monarchy. The monarchy said, hey, we got military rule here, we call the shots here, everybody follows us, and so we are the authorities. You get what I mean? So at the time of Moses, at other times in history, there have been people who said, we are the gods. You come to us and you ask us, you beg us, we'll decide whether you get food or not. You get what I mean? So in history, there have always been people who denied God, who thought they were gods because they were the ones who had power and authority. You get what I mean? In today's day, that is there too. I am the head of such and such thing. I'm a big shot. And, I can do this for you and I can do that for you. What kind of influence and power it is. I am a political power. I am a legal power. I am a medical power. I am some kind of authority in the world. I am a police power, whatever it is. I can hurt you or harm you. You better come to me, whatever it is. Let me control you, and so on and so forth. Or our usual common one, which is, I got a job, I earn money, I got a business, I got a lot of money, so I have power. You get what I mean? This is how it's been in history. But generally, in history it's been, people have known that they were vulnerable. They had to turn. They knew that they by themselves were not okay unless they had this kind of arrogance, which they still have this kind of arrogance. Today we also have, I am the religious power. I'll tell you what to do and what not to do, religious expertise. I was speaking to a recently widowed woman yesterday, and she says, Ashraf, I'm not supposed to ask this, but I'm asking it. Maybe you can tell me, she said to me. She said, in the moment that my husband died, they told me the nikah was void. Who? Maulana Guru and gang, her Maulana Guru. They said, I can't even touch the body, I can't even be by the body. My nikah is over. She said, but how can Allah, I spent my life with this man, and then in an instant, he was even in my bed when he died, and in an instant, next thing is prepared for ghusl, and I can't even sit by him. I can't even sit by him. The nikah is over. I can't sit by him. I said, Ish, Allah is compassionate. Allah is merciful. This is not the Allah I know of. And she said, but why? How can that be? because there are people who are not interested in the real experience of Allah consciousness and the real Allah is the authority. There are people, religious people, who are interested in calling the shots. We'll tell you what you can do. We'll tell you what you can't do. The Prophet didn't even do that. The Prophet only gave the message and he gave guidance. And he didn't tell people, I'm going to control you. But my point is, you get these people who think they are the authorities. They're not humble. They do not humble themselves before the Creator. Anyway, I'm digressing. And I said to her, to me what it sounds like. I can be wrong, I said to her. I said that in India, it was the practice that when the man dies, the woman loses all her rights. As a Hindu woman in a Hindu clan, when the man dies, there is no her as a wife. As soon as they put that body on the funeral pyre to cremate it, she must jump on. If she don't jump on, they'll throw her on. That was disrespect to woman, chauvinism, that is coming through Hinduism. I said, I don't know. But I said, this is what I know. I know that this has been an ancient Hindu practice, that the woman has no point in life beyond serving the man. Her daughter said to me on the table, I know, she said to me, I know that I'm here to serve my husband. I said, before you go on, I said to her, please, who told me you are here to serve your husband? You get what I mean? Who told you? I'm asking, I'm just saying, who told you you are to serve your husband? Because as far as I know from the Quran, men and women are to worship Allah. That before any one of us we focus on Allah as the authority. Women in ancient or even relatively recent and sometimes in current times, in the Indian Hindu ways, their purpose is a function. The women are supposed to perform a certain function, And then I just got thinking, my mind just started thinking. And I was just thinking this thought, that, except in Cape Town generally, women go to the mosque on Fridays. But generally where this lady is from, in certain provinces, certain regions of South Africa, the women on a Friday are not supposed to go to mosque, or they're not supposed to pray the Jumu'ah, They're supposed to make the biryani and make the papad and make sure the papadam is ready. Then the men go and do the religious worship. The women are not supposed to. They're supposed to make sure that the men are doing the worship, and the women come home and the woman must attend to them. So I'm thinking, is that really Islam? That, I don't know, any of you women or men here, when you were growing up, did you have this kind of feeling that Islam is more for the man, and the man must do worshipping, and the woman must just serve the men in worshipping God? Because I'd like to know. I'm not saying I know. I'm saying I don't know. I'm saying that Allah has compassion, and from my understanding, men and women are here. Men and women are here to worship Allah. Their first relationship is with Allah. You understand? If I'm wrong, if Maulana Guru tells me, Ashraf, you're wrong, and the gang tells me, Ashraf, you're wrong, the women are here to serve the men who will serve Allah, then please tell me where in the Quran it says that, or where in the Hadith that it says that. You know what I mean? Because this can be part of this Hindu thing. If most of us in certain regions of this country, we are Indian Muslims, and not too long ago, our forefathers, before the Arabs introduced us to Islam, we were practicing Hinduism. We still speak Indian languages, some of us. And so I have this idea that maybe it's still with us. I can be wrong. If somebody can tell me if you're wrong, when you say Maulana Guru, you are being very offensive. I'm saying, no. I'm having a feeling that, people are giving power over to authorities that are gurus, because we are like Indians coming from India, and guru system was like that. You can't make a move without asking the guru. The guru told you when you can get married, who you can get married to, what you can do, what you can't do, what this and that. Religious expertise. Could it be, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, could it be our Maulana Guru and gang are still also, it's not too long ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, in the grand scheme of things, maybe religious Islam is not really reaching us because we still got that culture, that Hindu culture. I don't know. I'm just asking these questions. And, the one lady said, I know we're not supposed to question this. I said, who told you you're not supposed to question this? You see, it's just showing me like the kind of religious oppression that exists. You tell people, you must ask us, don't think for yourself. And the one sister said, I work for this Muslim man and it's Eid day, and he's a Hafiz, and he goes to the mosque 5 times a day, and, he didn't want to give me my pay in advance for Eid, or they don't even give Eid gifts or whatever it is, but when it's Christmas, then the Christmas cake is there and the Christmas gifts are there and all that sort of thing. I said to her, do you know what the Quran says? It says, woe to those who stand in prayer, yet in whose hearts they lacks the smallest of kindnesses. I said, your boss is not a Muslim by name, because you get those Muslims by name. I'm just a Muslim, but they're hooligans running around. This man is a Hafiz. This man is going to mosque 5 times a day. He stands in prayer, but he cannot recognize his staff, Eid, and express Eid Mubarak or a message of Eid Mubarak to your own staff. So, can it be that I'm making a big story out of nothing? Can it be? I don't know. Can Ashraf be against people? I don't think so. I'm just asking, I'm standing for the Quran, I'm standing for Haqq, I'm standing for truth. I'm not here to be an authority against any other authority. I declare there's only one authority. And I'm asking questions, because this is what people are asking me. People are telling me. 2 weeks ago, we heard about the Muslim system, who said she's married to this man who's learned in deen, who for 15 years has been abusing her in every known way to be abused. Yet in the society, everybody has respect for him, And I'm like asking, is that what deen is? If you learn it in deen, you will be unkind. Not even your heart lacks the smallest unkindness, your heart lacks the smallest kindnesses, but to have the greatest cruelty to people around you. You understand? Is that learned in deen, when you can be cruel to your own spouse? Cruel. So, I don't get it. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe all the guys got it right in the world. Everybody's just, And I'm just wondering, is it any wonder why we're told don't read the Quran, you'll never understand it? It sounds like gurus wanting to remain in power. I don't know. I can be wrong. If somebody thinks I'm in error, please let me know. Please let me know. And please bring your Quranic support and Hadith support to educate me, because I want to learn. I don't want to continue in the ways of my forefathers. Anyway, coming back to Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam is growing up with, this kind of, my mind, I'm reasoning, I'm thinking, it doesn't make sense that we're making these idols, and, and he's now looking around in the world, and he's like trying to figure it out, that, and then he realizes, the one who created me will guide me. He goes beyond the physical body and the physical world, and he starts realizing there is beyond the physical world and there's what my physical body cannot perceive. There's what the physical body, there's what my physical body cannot perceive. There is beyond what my psychological mind can't perceive. I, as a physical body, experiencing my physical self in a physical world, I can't see God physically through my body. And my thinking, me, separate thinking, I'm thinking about God. I'm thinking I can find my way out, and I can think my way out, or I can figure it out. He realizes it's because of Allah I am, because of Allah this world is, because of Allah I continue to be, because of the world, because of Allah, the world is. The sun is because of Allah. I am because of Allah. The moon is because of Allah. The stars are because of Allah. My parents, and my mind is because of Allah. So, through my body, I can't figure, and through my mind, I can't figure it out. And he submits. This is why I said one of the greatest days on the Islamic calendar is the day of sacrifice after Hajj. In Hajj, Eid al-Adha. And Ibrahim alayhi salam taught us to actually, submit, follow in the way of Ibrahim alayhi salam. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he also grew up with his family in idolatry. They were into idol worshipping and all that sort of thing. And he too submitted. You see, the other prophets, like for example, Isa alayhi salam, he grew up with his family. They were submitters in a certain sense. They knew the truth. They took no gods other than gods, but their religious clergy also went astray. It's not new. You see, at the time of Isa alayhi salam, his people were astray. They were sticking to the letter of the law, but they've forgotten its spirit. They were more about this is right, this is wrong, do like this, don't do like that. When they were praying as hypocrites, and then he challenged them on that. Is it any wonder why this time might be ready? This time might be a time for the return of Isa alayhi salam, because the situation is quite similar. Hadith tells us there'll come a time when people in your mosque will lead you astray. The mosque will get bigger and bigger and everywhere, but there'll be no iman in the hearts of people. You get what I mean? I'm only telling you what the Quran and Hadith is telling. I'm not telling you something from my thinking. I'm reasoning, I'm asking you, these are the situation people are facing. The Quran says reason. This is a book for those who reason. It doesn't say this is a book for those who follow blindly. If you say no, following blindly is what we want to do, I'm thinking, who told you that? Mustn't question anything. Who told you that? Live in religious oppression. Who told you that? Is it any wonder why the lives of people, if you fail to remember Allah, yours will be a depressed life. Is it any wonder why people's lives are depressed? Because they have not submitted. They have not submitted that beyond what I can see and beyond my seeing and beyond my physical body there's a power. But we can look. We can look and see the power of Allah. That's the methodology of the Quran. Become aware. Look and see that thou hast not created this world in vain. Glory be to thee, the creator of the world. Look and see. But are you taught that in madrasa? Anybody taught that when you're growing up? Did they take you out of the classroom and say, this is the verse. It says, go outside, look and see, and become aware that there's a power operating here, and make shukr to Allah, say subhanallah, that Allah, you are the creator of this world. I read last night in a verse that I was reading, and the night before, this world was not created as sports. The heaven and the earth were not created as sport, like we have nothing to do, we are idle. Allah said, let's just make the heavens and the earth. This heaven and earth is created purposefully by Allah. It is here to distinguish who will choose to recognize Allah and who will choose to follow in unconscious ways of their forefathers. Who are going to remain unconsciously, live subconsciously. See, are you going to live unconsciously, subconsciously, give your power to other people, just be a blind follower? You're going to live like that? Are you going to be a hypocrite? I'd have to tell them. The Quran speaks about people who read prayers, but are hypocrites. People who say they believe in Allah in the last day, but they don't. People don't know that the Quran is talking about people who say they believe in Allah in the last day, but they don't. And that this world is created to see, not for women to make papad and on a Friday make a dal and rice, and all that. The world is created, not to say don't do that. The world is created for you to recognize your Creator. Who will recognize the power of Allah? Who will recognize the privileging of Allah? Who will humble themselves? You see, Abraham alayhi salam did that. This is why he is one of the greatest personalities in Islamic tradition. Even in, Muslims say, God bless the Prophet Muhammad and his people, as you blessed Ibrahim alayhi salam and his people. Prosper the Prophet Muhammad and his people as you prospered Ibrahim alayhi salam and his people. You understand? Now, he is quite a respected authority. Was he, when Ibrahim alayhi salam was contemplating and reflecting and he submitted, was he keeping fast? Did he go for Hajj? Did he pay zakat? Was he performing his salah? I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying follow in the way of Ibrahim alayhi salam. What is the way of Ibrahim alayhi salam? He reasoned, he contemplated, he stopped continuing ignorance, superstition and arrogance. He said to his family, why do you deny that which cannot, why do you turn to that which cannot help you or harm you? Why do you deny the one that can benefit you? Why will you not become aware and experience the power of Allah? That's what he became. That's why he was untouchable. They flung him into the flames. He was untouchable because he became aware of Allah. He acknowledged Allah. He accepted Allah. He accepted the power of Allah. He accepted the gracious nature of Allah, the privileging of Allah. He had a relationship with Allah even before he had a relationship with his father and mother, even before he had a relationship with the gurus of his time. He had a relationship with Allah. Before he had a relationship with his wife, he had a relationship with Allah. He even left a wife and child, had a relationship with Allah in Mecca. Had a relationship with Allah. Was willing to release attachment to his son. Had a relationship with Allah. See? Humility. Recognizing the power and the privilege. I'm going to end with this. That's really about us humbling ourselves. We take no authorities other than Allah. Unless you want to, then that's a different story. You understand? No person, no human being, nothing in creation equals Allah. Allah is unique. Nothing that we can see and touch in this world, and nothing and nobody we can have a relationship with, psychologically. Physically, observable, psychologically we can relate to, like you can relate to husband, wife, children, parents, whatever. Allah is beyond our physical body and physical life. He is a giver of physicality and a life in which we live. He has blessed us. He has created us in the highest of molds. He created us to experience peace and love and joy and be compassionate and merciful. This is His attributes. Allah has created us with status and standing, has given to us status and standing for us to experience a life tayyibun, a life satisfying, enjoyable, pleasing. There's a natural way. For those who have Iman, the Quran tells, male or female, by the way, it adds that. For those who have Iman, who connect with Allah and have Allah consciousness, who submit with Allah, who have a relationship with Allah before their bodies, their lives, before food and drink and water and all that, thinking that this is powerful in the world. We need it, we need it, we need it, give it to us, we need it. You know, you don't make your body and the people and things, related to your body exclusively important. Allah is exclusively important. You get what I mean? And the people in our lives, no matter who they are, it's Allah that is significant. Our first relationship is with Allah beyond our bodies and beyond our psychological identities. We submit. I follow in the way of Ibrahim alayhi salam. There is no power except the one power. The Quran says the heavens and the earth were created that we may recognize His power. If you don't acknowledge Allah, if you do not accept the power of Allah, you will live fearful, threatened and vulnerable. Turning to false gods, idols. Who do you turn to when you feel threatened and afraid? Who do you think can help you? It's only Allah. And those of us who are believers, those of us who are actual believers, the Quran says, don't say you're a believer when you're not really a believer. Iman didn't enter your heart. Rather say you are, submissive in religion. Even that is questionable. People don't even know the religion properly. I'm talking about a real believer. Ibrahim alayhi salam drew closer to Allah. His primary relationship was with Allah, beyond his father and mother, beyond his family, beyond his wife, beyond his children, beyond anybody. First is Allah. To make that the exclusive focus and feeling. Faith. If you have faith, and if you have good conduct, the Quran tells us, male or female, if you have a relationship of submission with your Creator, if you are aware of Allah as a benefactor with a capital B, that nobody and nothing can really equal Allah, and you recognize His greatness and His graciousness, His power and privileging, you have that relationship with Allah, the power of Allah. If you presence Allah every day, more than you presence what your body sees as primary, or your as a person you might say, I'm a son of a mother, or I'm a parent of a son, or I'm a wife or husband of so-and-so, I'm a teacher. Before all that, before your physical identity, and before your psychological identity, is Allah, the giver of physical life, the continuer of physical life, who created us and continues us, who gave us life as human beings, that we may value. The Quran says He created the heavens and the earth that we may recognize His power. Are you aware of God? Have you accepted the power of God? Do you feel assured and reassured in the worship of God, in the presencing of God, or not? If not, you might be a hypocrite. You can actually do it. You can actually submit, instead of say we believe, but you can actually really believe. You can submit that false self, that I am thinking money, food, clothing, me getting a job, getting money, paying my rent is the most important thing. Me, somebody loving me in the world, me being there for, I must take care of people, people must take care. You can go beyond that. You can have your relationship with Allah before you have a relationship with anything created. This is a believer, this is submission. You presence the power of Allah. You presence the privileging of Allah. You can feel grateful. The Quran says, we gave you life, delivered you from your mother's wombs, gave you hearing and sight, intellect and affect, that you may be grateful. How many of us actually recognize the power of Allah, recognize His giving nature to us? Because when you humble yourself before your Creator and you have faith in your heart, you can then, having presence the power of Allah, you can recognize the power Allah gave us to live in a way that supports halal and tayyib. You can recognize Allah gave us a power that we can relate in this world. We can live in this world as humane beings. Satan doesn't want you to submit to Allah. He wants you to look in this world through your body, get lost in this world in a trance. He wants you to look at your role and get involved in your psychological realities and your physical realities. But you don't submit. You don't have the only reality is Allah. La ilaha illallah. There is no reality but Allah. Allah is the real. I focus on Allah and feel about Allah exclusively. Before I focus on people and things, I focus on Allah. I feel assured and reassured with Allah. With Allah, my satisfaction is ensured. How many of us feel secure? Verily, in the remembrance of Allah, hearts experience assurance. The Quran tells us, when you are remembering Allah, are you feeling assured? Are you feeling reassured? Do you feel ensured is your satisfaction? Do you feel really good naturally? Because that's what I feel as I submit before my Creator as a believer. In my heart there was a disease, but there's no heart. I'm bringing to Allah purify. In my heart is a disease, but now the disease is getting less and less. And, the Quran says, when people pray, their wrongdoings will get less. Their ways of bad behavior will get less. But that means people are praying, but their wrongdoings are not getting less. And it says the remembrance of Allah is greater. People are not feeling it. When you remember Allah, your hearts experience assurance. People are not feeling it. What does it tell you? Figure it out for yourself. Those of you who want to wake up. Those of you who want to keep sleeping, sleep in this world through your death and wake up in a sleeping state. We're raised up in a sleeping state. Carry on. Each one of us for ourselves here. In fact, it doesn't matter to me, any one of y'all. Be the way you are, don't be. What matters to me is my relationship with Allah. What matters to me is I live with Iman. What matters to me is I live with Amal. What matters is to me that I have in this world tayyibun. I'm more interested in me, my security with Allah. I'm more interested in me, how I relate to me, my body and my life. Allah gave me reason. Allah gave me responsibility. Allah gave me ability to relate and respond. Allah gave me the way of feeling within me. I'm interested to see how I relate to me, my body and my life. The Quran is a guidance, halal and tayyib, how to live, how to relate, how to function. Allah gave us that capacity of akal, reason. I choose to use it. Those who show up with a relationship with Allah first, and then they show up as honorable human beings, amal. They reason, they reflect, they respond, they take responsibility, they have a relationship with themselves, their bodies, their lives, areas in their life. They live honorably. For them in this world, there is male or female, not make papa in the kitchen. Female. You are here to make sure your husband is happy. I mean, a lot of men will be unhappy by me telling you this, but you know what I think? Forget about them. Because it's Allah that we must think about, no authority. Let them do what they want in this world. My soul comes from Allah. I will die. The hereafter is forever. People can persecute me. People can say what they want. It doesn't matter. Shaheed. I'll be shaheed. Standing for truth. What a best way to die than that? The shaheed. Those who die for the cause of truth. I'm prepared to suffer for the cause of truth. I'm not here on my own ego trip. I'm just here in support of truth. I said, I'm here for my relationship with Allah. Nobody can stop me. Not Maulana Guru and gang. You can't stop me. I'm here for behaving in an honorable way. You can't stop me. And I'm here for halal and tayyib. I'm going to choose people in my life that are into natural living and I'm going to see where I wasn't giving freely and I was with people who don't give freely. I want to be with people who want to feel good with Allah and want to feel good with themselves in their life and want to feel good with each other. I can see my errors. I'm learning, I'm growing. These are the important things to me. You know? That's what the Quran is telling us. If you have faith and you conduct yourself honorably, whether you're male or female, then in this world there is a natural good feeling for you. There's tayyibun, a life tayyibun, a wholesome life and a blissful return. Shukr to Allah who has given us Islam, who has given us the Quran, who has given us the Prophet, who all guided us to our Creator. You know, and other prophets also guided the people to the Creator. Shukr to Allah, I've been guided to the Creator. I've got no problem. My relationship with Allah, I'm addressing it. That's the main thing. Nothing else matters. Shukr to all praise, glory, and thanks is to Allah Almighty. His choicest blessings upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.